To live Palace news. It might start a bit slow. I have to stop some editing that was going on in the background. Let me cancel this so my laptop doesn't explode. Sorry about the little delay, but here we are. We literally finished recording the match preview. As we finished, this news is breaking, and that is Andersen on the verge of joining Fulham. We're going to be going through that as always. Please, if you do enjoy the stream, all I ask for is just a like, and to not miss out on future Palace content like this, subscribe. I mean, we literally done an earlier stream today with me and T talking about the latest Palace news, and this breaks at 9:30 p.m. I'm joined by Patrick here. We'll be going through every comment as well as the reports, and what does this mean for potentially Guehi's future at the football club? Does this mean he's staying, replacements, and more? So yeah, there's a lot to talk about, today. I'll go through the news that broke today, and it's from David Ornstein, a very reliable source. Nowadays, if he's tweeting about Palace, just know that someone's leaving the club. That's what it feels like, rather than someone joining. And he has tweeted about Palace once again, and that is on Mark Guehi, as we can see from the title. In principle, not Guehi, sorry, Joachim Andersen. In principle, Joachim Andersen agreement has been reached tonight, people, with Fulham. Compromise has been found on a fee of around £30 million, including add-ons. All parties are working to finalize the deal for the 28-year-old Denmark defender to join Fulham. It seems like an agreement has been reached, Patrick. 30 million, including add-ons. Your thoughts? There's a lot of people, of course, let us know your thoughts. Upset, some people not so. How are you feeling about this?
I'm not that worried about it, honestly. If you gave me a choice, I've said it on various streams. Give me a choice between selling Guehi or selling Andersen. I'll sell Andersen every time. Nothing against Andersen, liked him as a player. But let's just take a moment to just kind of calm down, all right? Andersen was bought by Vieira because Vieira wanted to play a certain style. It's a style that Hodgson kind of tried to play also. But Oliver Glasner does not need a centre half who can ping a 30 or 40-yard ball to start the creating of an attack. He doesn't need it. He has 2 number 8s that can pass the ball. He's got 2 number 10s, and he has wing backs. He doesn't need a centre half. He needs a centre half that can carry the ball out of defence, which Guehi can do, and can pass the ball and rotate the passing. And Chaddy Riad can rotate the passing, and maybe LaCroix can. But I don't understand why we're melting down over losing Andersen. He's 28. He's been here for 3 years. Out of the two, the upside is more towards Guehi than Andersen. But what I will say is this. We have to now, obviously, 1, not sell Guehi, clearly, and 2, sign him. And then 3, get replacement for Andersen, obviously. But again, if you told me at this window we would sell Olise and Andersen as opposed to Olise and Guehi, I would say, okay, I'll take Olise and Andersen leaving.
Yeah, we literally spoke about it today, me and T. There was a report that came out, and of course, Patrick, I know you're not a fan of rumors, but that's why we try to cover every rumor that's been going on. And it's funny that this happened tonight, that we do potentially have to sell before we can buy a player. And the names that were mentioned is Guehi and Andersen. Look, but my reactions to it is I'm not disappointed at all. In fact, if it means that we are keeping our best defender at the football club, which is Mark Guehi, I feel like Andersen is not a bad player, but at times we kind of recently is maybe reaching a stage of overrating him. The fact that people are saying they'll rather sell Guehi over Joachim Andersen, which I was happy, by the way, with Guehi potentially leaving the football club. I think it was a win-win situation. I know you wasn't, Patrick, but I think the fees involved would have been nice. If he was to leave, if he stays, we still have our best defender. And if you're telling me right now that we get to keep Mark Guehi, which I believe is going to be the case, there's no way on earth we lose Guehi and Andersen so late in the window. And it's not even about money. Newcastle, if they're after Guehi, which Ornstein have reported that they are looking at alternatives now, because I think they know it's going to be difficult. I think kind of get over it now. I think you've had your chance. And there were numerous bids that were rejected because they didn't meet our valuation. And right now, it's not even about valuation. It's just a case of pride. And from what I know about Steve Parish all of these years, as much as I've criticized him, there's one thing that I just cannot see him doing in this window is selling them both so late on. That is not going to happen. So if this is a simple scenario of Joachim Andersen leaving £30 million, which is a 28-year-old, and he has improved under Glasner, he has got his strengths, but he's not better than Guehi. He's got 2 years left on his deal. If he was to leave and Glasner brings in a defender who he had at a football club at Wolfsburg, where he finished 4th in the Bundesliga with, where that player was reported to be of interest to numerous Premier League clubs at that time, who's younger than Guehi in terms of Lucroy, or whether that's even a Chalobah, maybe Patrick, you wouldn't want him. If these are the players that we're linked with, I'm more than happy with this. £30 million for Joachim Andersen, who has been stinking out the place recently, in terms of pre-season and his overall performance, it's just been kind of odd. And he's a hit and miss player. Like he's been good under Glasner, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Joachim Andersen is our best defender. He's not our best defender. He's got strengths. He's got weaknesses. We focus on his passing so much that we forgot even last season that, he has improved, as I've said, under Glasner. I'm going to keep saying that. But we cannot also forget that at some points last season, there were times where Andersen was arguing with the fans because of frustration. There were performances that were not good enough. It's not like Joachim Andersen had a 10 out of 10 season. His season improved as it went on, as we switched managers, but he wasn't consistent throughout the season, and he's had moments. And as you said, Patrick, is a Vieira signing. We've got a new manager. I'm happy to go with the new manager choice, especially if that means Guehi stays. Like it's not really a hard decision. I'm not losing sleep over this. But if you are upset, if we do disagree, send in your comments. Explain why. If you are happy with this deal, with the fees involved, let us know as well. We'll try to get both sides of the story out here discussed. But yeah, I mean, the talking point is, Patrick, Andersen's become our quarterback. I think that's what they say. Back.
Yeah.
In terms of passing. I'll just say this. In terms of numbers last year, Guehi actually had better passing numbers than Andersen, but he played less games.
Yep.
My point is, if Guehi is better than Andersen in terms of if Andersen's better than Guehi in terms of passing, he's not that far ahead. I mean, we've seen literally what people are praising Andersen about and have been very emotional about. Diagonal balls. We saw that against Brentford, not by Andersen. He was hoofing it to the striker and it was hit and miss, but by Mark Guehi. Guehi can do that role. The problem is he hasn't had the opportunity to get on the ball as much as Andersen to have them diagonal balls, because that's been the preference of the manager. It's not like Guehi is a scrub and he cannot play those balls. Guehi is good on the ball. He's good with his feet. He can run with the ball as well. He is our best defender. No one can convince me that Guehi is not our best defender. Andersen's got his strengths. Saying that, it doesn't mean that Guehi cannot do that Andersen role. I don't understand it. I mean, the numbers prove it as well. The eye test also prove it. Yes, Andersen may be doing the diagonal balls more often than not because he's on the ball. But for me, Guehi's not that far behind, Patrick.
And what I'll say is that, and I'm going to preface everything I say, I don't know what goes on at Palace in the background, and nobody does. So don't act, no one should say they know. But I would be so shocked, and I've been a Paris supporter, Paris hater, back to being in the middle again, is that if Glasner wanted him to stay, he wouldn't be going to Fulham. Same way Guehi hasn't gone. Now, I'm not saying that Guehi still could not go, because anything could happen, right? But I'm just saying that I am convinced that Glasner wanted to keep Andersen, he would keep Andersen. And clearly he doesn't want to. Now, this is not official, but it probably is. But again, I'm very happy to go with what Glasner wants to do. Now, I don't know what he wants to do. I'm just going by what makes sense. You don't really sell your best players if your manager wants to keep them. Now, there's circumstances where you have to sell, right? Because you have deficits, you need to buy other players. In the case of Olise, there's a release clause that's triggered. But in this case, it clearly is a player who doesn't mind leaving, because he was at Fulham before, and the manager says, you know what? I don't mind selling him because I have A, B, and C players I can bring in and I'm comfortable with. And you know what? Honestly, if he leaves, I don't think it makes us that much worse. And I'm with you, D. You cannot tell me or convince me that Mark Guehi is not a better defender than Andersen. I'm trying to put that on Andersen. I like what Andersen could do. Andersen's slower than Guehi. He's better in the air, and even though he's shorter than Guehi, and is as competent a passer Guehi is as a better header of the ball. He's quicker, and to me, he's a competent passer. No, he doesn't ping 30-yard diagonals like Andersen does, but he also doesn't have what I will quote unquote, which is maybe sound bad, these bozo moments like he had in preseason that Andersen has. Guehi has had some bad moments, for instance, on Sunday when he didn't show the defender where he should have shown him, but he doesn't have the moment where he falls on the ball or, gets beat in the air for headers like the way Andersen does. But again, I like Andersen as a player, but again, I am very comfortable that Oliver Glasner will be able to replace him. Now, if we don't replace him, different conversation. Conversation. You know what I mean? Different conversation. But for me, 30 million, 28 years old, 2 years left in the contract. Yes, Fulham is a rival. A bit of a problem there. I'm not going to lie with you. It's a bit of a problem for me. But having said all of that, give me and I've said, you go back, I've said it before. Give me the choice between Guehi and Andersen. For me, keep Guehi, sell Andersen all day, every day.
Yeah. Quickly, let's go through the super chat. Sam, thank you for this. Really appreciate it. If you, of course, super chats do get priority in terms of comments. He's saying backline is fine. Get what you need now. Yeah, I mean, I think the backline, we still need a replacement, right? I think we do need a replacement. And we are basing this on the reason why I am calm is I'm adding 2 and 2 together. We reportedly want around £40 million for Joachim Andersen. I've literally spoke about it today on the Palace News episode earlier on, that we are looking to sell one of these players now, and then compromise is found. That's the talk from David Ornstein, £30 million. I won't be surprised if tomorrow or the day after we have a here we go at Palace. I won't be surprised if the replacement isn't already lined up. I think if you want £40 million for Joachim Andersen and you're willing to sell on £30 million, there's clearly something that you're happy with by letting Joachim Andersen leave. So that's why I'm not as worried. As we know, lots of these sources for Guehi is coming from Newcastle rather than Palace. And apparently, what was the report? I'll read out the report, but this doesn't directly impact the Guehi deal. Newcastle side of things could say that, but it does. It does impact the Guehi deal. It 100% does. It 100% does, because we sold Joachim Andersen, and Steve Parish just spoke about, not losing both of them in the same window. So it will impact it, and I don't see Mark Guehi leaving. So yeah, I think that is why Ornstein, who's a very reliable source, unfortunately has been more negative towards Palace than positive this whole summer, has said that Newcastle are looking at alternatives. There's no shock there, because I think they've realized now that they've messed up by playing the long game. So if Newcastle fans are upset at Palace about what's going to happen with Guehi, I think your anger is coming to the wrong direction. We've set a valuation, just like you set a valuation with Isaac. If Arsenal bid £60 million for Isaac and Arsenal fans got upset at you and you're getting upset at us right now, then I'll say you're hypocrites, because it's not about it's not about Palace not wanting to sell to Newcastle. It's about Newcastle simply not meeting valuation. You have valuation for your players. We have valuation for our players. If you can afford them, fair enough. But you play the long game. And I feel like there will be now looking at other alternatives. And there's been names that's already been mentioned. But yeah, I think Guehi does stay. Guehi does stay at the football club. And let's see the replacement now, Patrick. That's the biggest thing. Let's see the replacement. But by the way, people, if you can do, there's over 200 of you here. All I ask for to help the algorithm, to help grow the channel and the community, please hit the like button. It takes a second of your time. And it's much appreciated, regardless of how you're feeling right now. So thanks to every single one of you that's already done that. Colin's saying, Charlie's saying, lads, relax. We have Rob Holding.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, it's not a case of Rob Holding is going to come into play, but I mean, we spoke about in the match preview, which is dropping tomorrow, people. We spoke about the defense. How quickly do we need this replacement, Patrick? Is it a case of sorting it this week now that Joachim Andersen seems like he's leaving, or would you be happy waiting another week and making sure that we get the right player necessary?
This isn't the Palace way, and I wish it was, but I don't think there's any doubt that the player coming in is going to be Maxence Lacroix. There's too many. You guys talk about it during the Palace news shows. It just makes so much sense. Last year was a contract. Knows Glasner, wants to leave. I don't care what Hasenhüttl said about he's not going anywhere. Man just said it all the time. They're not going to say, oh, by the way, he's leaving tomorrow. It just makes too much sense. And I know we've done our due diligence, we've scouted him, etc. It makes total sense. It's going to be Lacroix. If it's not Lacroix, it's Kasonu, but Kasonu makes less sense to me because he's more of a he can play. LaCroix makes more sense. He can play more in a 3 than Kasonu, but again, either one of them will be fine. But again, I just have a feeling it's gonna be LaCroix. I just think we should get it done as soon as possible. The good news is this: we have Chatty Riad. He's been here the entire summer. He's been at the camp. He can play on the left side, move Mark central. He can play central and keep Mark on the left with Richards. It wouldn't be the end of the world to go 2 more matches. Let's say again, the West Ham game, the Norwich game, and obviously the window is closed by Chelsea. But I'm going to be shocked if it's not announced LaCroix by Friday. He won't play on Saturday, but I'll be shocked if it's not LaCroix.
He's out injured though. Well, I don't know how serious the injury is, but I think he picked up an injury yesterday, where he got subbed off at half time.
Fine. So then we bring him in and we rehab him and he plays in a couple of weeks. Again, we've got Chatty Riad, so I'm not bothered. I mean, holding comment was very funny, but it's going to be Chatty Riad. That's what we got him for, right? I mean, we actually had a centre half that came in and could play in the back 3, who's perfect to play in the back 3 with Richardson and Guehi. And God forbid if you don't want to do that, then hello Joe Ward and hello Nathaniel Klein. It's not going to be the end of the world losing Andersen for a couple of matches. It's just not.
No,
and I know people who are saying
Ward is kind of reaching that point for me. I don't want to go towards that path.
I understand that, but I've seen comments that people said that Richardson be replaced by Klein. I would never do that. But my point is that we have, and then Jefferson Lerma, we have players, but again, we have Chatty Riad. He can slip into the back 3 without any problem the next 3 matches, 2 matches, whatever, and there's not a problem. So if it happens tonight and tomorrow Andersen's gone, LaCroix's injured, LaCroix wouldn't start Saturday anyway if he came in, so it wouldn't matter. You know what I mean? He's not gonna. He wouldn't start anyway. So even if he was fit.
Just quickly, let's talk about Guehi and also the bigger picture as well. For you, would you be okay with selling Guehi for, let's say, £70 million at this point of the window after Andersen, or has this changed your opinion on anything to do with Guehi?
No, it's too much of an upheaval. Why sell him? For me, he's your captain. He's your best defender. You keep him for the continuity. I don't see the point. I mean, he's the future for Palace defensively. Why would you sell him? No, I know that you're talking about money because this is what happened. I don't care if we get 30 for Andersen and 70 for Guehi, which 100 million. We're not even going to spend 50 of that this window. We're just not. So what's the point? No. And again, I told you before, losing 3 players in one window is not make me comfortable. It's too much change. But again, if let's say, again, I don't know, Glazer doesn't want Guehi either and wants to sell him, then we'd sell him, right? But I just don't see that being. Just doesn't make. I mean, I can't see.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if he doesn't want any of their players.
Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Look, I have no problems with Andersen leaving. In fact, I'm happier with Andersen leaving over Guehi, even though I would have been okay with Guehi leaving as well with the prices involved, because it most likely means that Guehi now stays at the football club, and we get a defender that Oliver Glasner wants. Which, I mean, if we all have faith in this manager, why not back the manager? And I think that's why we've made this move, people. The £30 million including add-ons when it was first of all reported that we wanted £40 million. I think there's something behind the scene. There is something behind the scene that is going on for us to accept this deal of around £30 million, because of course it is lower than our valuation. And we've seen it. Look, for example, you can compare the 2 situations. With Guehi, we haven't moved the needle. In fact, it's more about increasing price. Like, we've been so persistent and trying to keep Mark Guehi. Whereas Andersen, the price, as I've said, it was reportedly around £40 million, which is what we wanted. A £30 million offer, including the add-ons, we've accepted. So it feels like all along we were happy with letting Andersen go. And you can see how much we've been trying to stop Guehi. So if you look at the bigger picture, I don't think we're in panic mode at all about selling Andersen. I think this is what we wanted, even though we don't know exactly the reasons why. We can speculate and we can say that could be to bring in LaCroix. But I don't think the club is losing any sleep over it. And that is why they've accepted this.
That's an excellent point, D. I think the entire time, if you had told Steve Parish, okay, you're going to lose a centre half, which is it going to be? And yeah, you can get 70 for Guehi or 60 plus add-ons, or you get 30 for Anthony. He would have said, okay, Andersen 30. I think even the owner would have said that, because I think even the owner understands that of the 2, the one you least want to lose is Guehi. So But again, let's see if this becomes official tomorrow and what the next move is. We have to get a replacement, but we don't need a replacement for this weekend. See, it's the thing. I know people in the chat talking about, well, Riad's not ready, whatever, but he is part of the team and he played well in the preseason. I think against both West Ham and Norwich, he'd be fine. Maybe not against Chelsea, but I think the next two matches he's played the entire preseason. He played against West Ham in America and played really well in Tampa. I watched the game. So it's not like he's not familiar with you and most of their players. So I don't have a problem with Riad playing this weekend. But again, let's see how this plays out. This is very interesting, by the way, because I'm actually quite shocked this came the way it happened. And well, let's just see what happens because, we'll see. Again, this is quite surprising for me, honestly.
So about Guehi's future now, I don't think he's going to be leaving. But also, I have to add, it's not based on any information, but I won't be surprised if we do agree a new contract with him.
Has to happen.
I think, but that's the thing, Patrick. Everything doesn't get reported, unfortunately. It's not like we work at a football club and we know everything, right? It doesn't get reported. Everything doesn't get reported. And there's just there's a reason why we must have been holding on to him for so long and why we don't want to give him to Newcastle. It might be a case of he has a release clause in that contract, and we might have to. There were reports suggesting that he might be the highest ever paid Palace player, but there is a sense that look, they're not stupid. I'm sorry, Doug Friedman's not stupid. Steve Parish is not stupid. That's the one thing. You might question them about their ambitions at the football club, which I've done, but they're never been like stupid in terms of some ridiculous decisions. They're not gonna keep Guehi at the football club and be so persistent to not sell him over to Newcastle over £5 million valuation if they think there's zero chance on earth. The talks have been that Guehi is actually happy at the football club. It's not like he's pushing for a move away from Palace. And there must be a way for us to keep Guehi. So it wouldn't surprise me now if we do have that release clause. But saying that, Patrick, even if let's say the best case scenario, Guehi does sign a new contract with a release clause, right? If he was to leave next summer for around maybe £60 million, let's say that's his release clause, and we lost Andersen this summer, that's two players that's gone. Would you still be okay with that? If you keep Guehi for another season,
I'd be better. I'd be happier keeping him for another season because of what it could lead to as far as where we could end up cup-wise and, table-wise. I'd be more comfortable with that than to see them leave both in this window for sure. But again, I'm all for keeping Guehi, but your logic does make sense. Maybe you want to keep him maybe he doesn't want to stay, so we got to sell him next summer. And pretty much our model is to sell a player every summer. I wouldn't categorize Andersen in that because of his age and profile a little different than Olise and Guehi, younger players that we kind of develop, etc. We didn't develop Andersen. Obviously, he was a ready-made player when he came here from Fulham/Lille. So, sorry, Lyon? Which one? Where was he? Lyon or Lille? Which one it was? Andersen. Lyon, right?
Lyon.
Yeah, Lyon. Yeah. If we were to sell him next year, listen, I'd rather sell Guehi next summer. Let's get that straight rather than sell Wharton. Let's just say that because that's the next one going, right? So there's that dilemma. And by the way, that's gonna be next year's all summer. Where's Wharton going?
Oh yeah.
And for how much?
That's just gonna happen. It's going to happen. But thankfully, there's no release clause there. Right, there's no release clause.
There is, so we can get as much as we want. Yeah,
exactly. So it's not going to be easy to get Adam Wharton from Crystal Palace. And knowing how we are, like we're going to be stubborn. We are 100% going to be stubborn. I would hate to be the club trying to get Adam Wharton. And by the way, people, there's over 200 of you here. Just a quick mention. We're trying to give back to the fans of the channel, the subscribers, and the people who have been supporting us since day one. So we do have a ticket giveaway for this weekend's game. Thanks to our sponsors, ComAvi. All you have to do is check out Back of the Nest on X/Twitter, whatever you call it. The instructions are there. As I've always said in the previous stream, I wish I could give it to every single one of you, the tickets, but we can't because there's so many of you. So we're doing a ticket giveaway, and there'll be more giveaways throughout the season. So make sure to follow Back of the Nest on X/Twitter. Follow the instructions for a chance to win a ticket to this weekend's game, which I don't think Andersen will be in, but you might be able to see Riad have his first debut, professional debut, anyways, at a football club. So make sure to check that out. We're gonna go through some questions, but before we do go for some questions, Patrick, I do have to raise this question to you. Now that we sold Andersen, is it enough?
Not yet. Not official. Not official. Not official.
Yeah, not official, but now that it's looking likely that we're going to sell Andersen,
Yes.
would you want a replacement and another player? Because that's been the talks. There's been talks about left wing back and another number 10, or would you just be happy using that money just replacing Andersen and that's it?
I'd like to get the replacement at a lower cost of not 30 million, and then get a left wing back or right wing back 100%. I'm not worried about the number 10. We've had that discussion. I'm not worried about the number 10. You're not going to replace Olise. To bring in anybody that's close to him is impossible in this window or any window. We had an opportunity with other players that have gone on to other clubs. I'm not worried about the number 10. I'm very happy with Eze, França, Ayew, Kamada, and Saw in any iteration, and even Edouard if he goes out there. I don't need another number 10, honestly. Just give me a centre half replacement for Andersen and a left wing back, please, to give Ty some push. I think left wing back is more important than right wing back, but either one is fine. But someone that can either cover Munoz or cover Mitchell. That's what I need. I don't need a number 10, personally.
Yeah. By the way, there's over 200 of you here. We've only hit 73 likes. As I always mention, whenever I mention it, you lot just end up destroying the like button. Let's see if we can get over 100 in the next 5 minutes or so. Thanks to every single one of you that's already done that. Let's go through some of the questions. Of course, send them throughout the show, people. Put a Q and a dot before it. As I've said, there's over 200 of you here. So some of them may disappear in between the comments. So if you put a Q and a dot before it, it's easier to spot and answer. Let's start off with Jacob's question, which is, what if we didn't replace Andersen and played Jamide a few games? Is it too soon for him to play in the Prem? The youngster.
Yeah, he's way too young. Mofi Jamide is 17 years old. But I'll tell you, he's the future. See, that's the thing I'm saying. You guys talk about Andersen and Guehi. In 3 years, that kid's going to be our defender. He's going to be roaming in our back three in 3 years. He's a very good player. But yeah, he's too much early for that kid. Liked him in preseason. He's in the 21s now. He's playing up about 2-3 years, but he's not ready for the first team, unfortunately.
Yeah. You lot are crazy, by the way. That's why I love this community. We're already on 92. We just jumped straight away to 92. I know we'll hit 100 in like the next minute or so. So thanks to every single one of you, by the way. Really appreciate it. Kyle saying, do you think Riad is more ready than they thought initially? Could this be the case, Patrick?
He played at Betis. He was in Barcelona Academy. He plays for Morocco. He's not a star for Morocco, but they're a very good team. I don't see why he can't play. Again, I watched him in preseason. Was he perfect? No, but he looked very good. He looked very comfortable.
Arguably one of our best players, no? If not.
Yes. So, yes, I'm not. Listen, and he's quicker than Andersen. Listen, I don't want to become an anti. I really like Joe. Joe was great for us. I really do. But I'm not gonna get upset like when Wolf left or when I was a kid, Ian Wright and Kenny Sansom left. I love Joa, but nah, man. I mean, and again, if we didn't have Riad, I'd be a little bit, you tell me about Holding might be playing, but Charlie Riad's a good player. No, I mean, I think Riad can step in a few games and be fine. And I think he came here to play, not to sit on the bench. So I'm sure he's excited about the opportunity to possibly play on Saturdays. I'm sure he must be really excited about playing against West Ham. So yeah, there's that. So
yeah. I'm you know what? I think he's ready. The thing about Andersen, I think, which is coming maybe a bit more negative from us too, because it might sound like that. Like,
no, I don't want to be negative. I have no problem with
the
Joe.
thing is, I feel like he's not a bad player.
No.
But he's entered that overrated category for me as well. Like, it's not the end of the world selling him for £30 million. We're too fixated on one element of his game, which is diagonal passes, by the way, not even short to medium. It's just diagonal long passes, and that's it. Like no one else could do that at a football club. And it's like it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world if losing him just for that. Like, I mean, we've had these conversations 100% with Glasner and Dougie and everyone that's involved. So there's a reason why we've agreed this still. We feel like we can replace him. And LaCroix, it's not a bad play on the ball as well. So yeah, I mean, Riad can step in. Yeah, he can step in.
Question for you.
And it's good. It's a good chance for him as well to prove himself against West Ham.
Question for you, and even for the chat. When's the last time we scored off a diagonal where Andersen started an attack?
It worked more for Vieira. I don't know, under Glasner. I can't remember. The chat will know better than me. My memory is not the greatest. But I remember for Vieira, 100% worked a lot. It worked a lot.
Right. It did. So my point is, it's happened a long time ago. I can remember a long throw from our goalkeeper that led to a goal lost against Villa. More than I can remember a long ball from Joa. My point is, I'll say it again. I'm not trying to get into tactics here, but the way that Glasner plays, that long diagonal can be effective. It's not even close to being necessary in the way he plays. He doesn't need it. He wants you to get the ball from the centre halves to either Wharton, Decore, or Hughes, and then get that ball to either the 10s or get them out wide to the wing back and then attack that way. He's not interested in you playing a 30, 40-yard ball from your centre half to Munoz or to Mateta in the air. It doesn't. You can do it, but you don't need that. And we found out on Sunday that didn't even work. He tried it, it didn't work. Whereas I know Guehi can play a shorter ball, maybe to Wharton, who can create. So again, I absolutely love Joe. He's been great. The man lifted the Stateside Cup, bro. Seriously, he's not going to be a massive miss.
Stateside Cup like that.
I decided to do it.
You bugged me. You bugged me. Okay. We celebrate the Stateside Cup, but the way you mentioned it in the match preview as well, by the way, that's dropping tomorrow. And the way you mentioned it, you're moving like it's like the Champions League. Man lifted the Stateside Cup.
I'm a Palace fan. I've got very little things to hold on to. So I don't know what you are.
Maybe because I'm younger. Yeah. Maybe you've suffered longer. Maybe, yeah, exactly.
Can I ask you a question seriously? You remember Palace being in anything but the Championship? No, right?
No. Well, exactly. Chad, to make you feel old, do you know how old I was when Palace got promoted to the Premier League?
You were like, I remember you called into the show and you lost your shoes. So probably like 13, 14?
13, yeah. 13 years old.
And have you ever seen Palace get relegated in your life?
No.
Exactly. So you listen, man. This is the best time ever for you and half of our chat probably. So people, live it up. This is the best you'll ever have for Palace, and hopefully it's only get better. Trust me, because I've seen some relegation, bro. So
you see some real struggle. Some real
struggle.
By the way, thanks to every single one of you that's liked the video. We've hit over 100 likes right now. As expected. Thanks to all of you. Jack saying, what happens if we don't agree a contract? His head's been turned by Newcastle clearly based on what's been said in the media. Also, if he does sign, it's not worth having it. Guehi has the highest earner. Your thoughts on that, Patrick?
If we don't agree a contract, we don't have to. Newcastle, he doesn't have a release clause. We don't have to sell him at this point. So he doesn't have to sign a contract. We just came for 2 years, and worst case now, he could leave on a free in 2 years because we don't have to sell him. So
that's a very bad case scenario, by the way. It's
not the best scenario, but we don't have to sell him, and I don't see the point in selling him and Anderson. So, I mean, his head turned. Mark Guehi, to me, I don't know Mark Guehi personally. Does not seem to be the kind of person, because he could have already gone to Parish and said, you know what, I want to leave. He could have done that already. And once you do that, and that would have come out, I guarantee that would have been somebody would have reported that, right? That Guehi wants to leave. That happens all the time, right? Some leak comes that Guehi wants to leave. I haven't heard that. I don't think his head turned at all. I just don't see it. I'm not saying I know for a fact, Jack, but I just don't see it.
The thing that makes the most sense to me, forget about these media reports, is that we don't reject bids that are worth around 5 million, valuations that are £5 million off what we want. We don't reject those if we genuinely feel like Guehi is not, there's no chance on earth he's staying at the football club. We just don't. I just don't see a scenario like that happening. And that's what gives me the confidence that, it's not out of the questions right now whether Guehi signs a new deal for me. It's not. I think it gets a bit more interesting now that we've decided to sell Joachim Andersen.
I have a question. Is Jack a Palace fan or Newcastle fan?
He's a Palace fan. I'm pretty sure I've seen Jack here a few times.
I'm just asking.
I think so anyways. I don't know Jack personally, but yeah. But yeah, I think he's a Palace fan. Let's move on to the next questions. There's a lot of questions to get through. Harry saying, are we becoming a selling club? No. Like, in terms of, we will have to sell players. Well, a player every summer, I think. But I don't think we're becoming a selling club. Would you consider that a selling club if we're bringing in, I don't know, we brought in 3 players so far this window. We still improved the squad. It's not like we're selling and keeping the money in our back pockets.
Yeah, I've been a Palace fan for a long time, and we've been a selling club for a long time. I don't see it. The model, quote, is that we develop players and we sell them on. That's all Lee say. Andersen again doesn't fit that model because he's a little older. Selling 2 players, buying 3, possibly 4. I don't see that as being selling, but again, I don't think so.
There's a few questions I really want to get into, but I'll quickly go through these questions. Evan's saying, why wouldn't Guehi sign a pay rise extension if it means we can guarantee he can leave next summer with a release clause? And I think that's the thinking behind it. So yeah, it wouldn't shock me if that was to happen. Patrick, how do you watch academy games? I can answer that for you. Palace TV. If you get a subscription for Palace TV,
Correct.
people,
Yep.
you can watch the academy games and a few other exclusive
And
content.
Jack, not spoiler alert, newsflash. The games are on in America at 6 a.m. in the morning. I watched the U18s lose to Spurs on Saturday, 5-3. I was up at 5:30 in the morning. I watch every U18 game, bro, that's on. So I'm a madman. I'm crazy.
If you're in America, then it might be a bit of a struggle for you. But if you're in the UK, it's still early. It's still early in the morning. It's normally morning time. It's not like a typical 3 p.m. kickoff for academy football. So yeah, check out Palace TV for that.
Yeah.
Another Jack saying, do you think after 12 years the club should have pushed on a bit more?
In a perfect world, 100%. Clearly. But there's been so many issues with us with our ownership model and then the stadium and our manager choices and other stuff. Basically, every year, what is it? 10 out of those 12, Jack, we're just trying to stay up, really, right? That's been and then last year, we were pretty much safe under Vieira for the first season. We were safe. It was not a problem. But we're trying to be fight relegation club. But I agree with you. I think after 12, we should be push on. Hopefully, we will push on starting now. I mean, I think this year with Glasner, we're in the right track, but again, we're Palace, man. Anything can happen.
And also, look, it hasn't been perfect. The last 12 months even hasn't been
close.
It hasn't been perfect. There's a lot of mistakes that I believe were made. So there are rightly so questions to ask about the direction of the football club. And Patrick, you mentioned a very good point, and that goes to our ownership, which we've mentioned on these Palace News episodes before, and most recently, I believe last week. It was about John Textor potentially joining Everton. So I want that to get solved, but it's not all doom and gloom as well. I know it's frustrating at times. I've been here frustrated about how long we're taking to push on. What is the ambition of the football club? There were even banners at the Arsenal game from the fans about ambition. But I think Parish spoke about recently on TalkSport in September, the academy facilities should be completely finished. We're starting the new stand. We are heading in the right direction. I think it's taking a bit longer than some people would want. We're getting compared to the likes of Fulham, for example, getting our players, and Brighton, and you've got Villa, all these other football clubs, and people are saying, why are we not spending as much as money? So I think these questions are right questions to ask, and everyone's got their own opinions, and it's good to share them on this platform. So I'm not, as you said, Patrick, I think it's 6.5 still for me this window. The Andersen deal doesn't change that. I think it's a good deal to make from the football club, especially if we keep Guehi. But we do need more players. We 100% need more players. Now we do need another replacement, of course, for Joachim Andersen. On top of that, more players to sign. So let's see how we do end the window. It's not going to be a quiet end to the window by any means. So hopefully on a deadline day show, people, we might have something to actually talk about, which is a positive. Maybe. Henry saying, can you be comfortable seeing Andersen go? Do you not think his partnership with Guehi will be hard to replicate? So let me just land there. Last season, well, so far under Glasner, Andersen and Guehi have started a total of 1 game playing in defense. Because the last season, Guehi, when he did started in midfield, and he didn't start with Guehi. And we managed to go 7 games unbeaten by not having Andersen and Guehi play together. The 1 game that they did start was the game that we've been talking about, the defense just stinking out the place. And that was against Brentford on Sunday. So I'm not worried about the partnership being a problem for Glasner, because it wasn't a problem last year when Guehi wasn't playing. And for me, Guehi is the better player. So that's why I'm comfortable that Andersen can go. It's like, he's not a bad player, but £30 million for Joachim Andersen is not a bad deal at all, especially if you can get a player that Glasner prefers over Joachim Andersen, which LaCroix has been mentioned quite a few times. And they're, with defenders, I don't think it's hard to replace them. I don't. If you lost Eze, it's much harder with the creative side of things. We've seen it with Elise. There's talks about Kamada, Kennedy's replacement, Sa, etc. It's much harder with forward creative players. With defenders, I feel like over the years we've done well recruiting defenders. Guehi, Andersen, even bringing in Sacco at the time, Scott Dan. All of these defenders, they've been fantastic for us. So I'm not worried about that. And the partnership, we haven't seen it under Glasner apart from one game against Brentford. And we won. We went unbeaten for a lot of games without that partnership.
And just to add, it's not a partnership anymore, Henry. We play 3 in the back, so you got to add that third player, which is important. And again, let's go through it. Burnley clean sheet, no Guehi and Andersen. Liverpool clean sheet, no Guehi and Andersen. Newcastle clean sheet, no Guehi Andersen. Man United clean sheet, no Guehi and Andersen. Villa clean sheet. Guehi was there, but he played in midfield. So that's a myth as far as this partnership. It's not a thing. And again, we play 3 in the back, so we need 3, not 2.
I'll answer this question as well. Your tweet is ridiculous. High saying Andersen's been stinking this place recently. Had one bad game. The whole defense was shy and was unreal at the back end of last season with no Guehi. He was unreal at the end of back seat. Well, let me answer. There's so many elements to this. Andersen has been stinking the place recently. It's not just one bad game. In preseason, he had an awful preseason. 2 massive mistakes. And there were questions even going into the season. What's going on with Joachim Andersen? What did we say? It's only preseason. He didn't have a great game against Brentford. So if we're talking about recently, he has been stinking the place recently. And we can even go through the clips of some pathetic errors. But then again, I still backed Andersen. I didn't say sell Andersen. I've never said sell Andersen. But in my opinion, he has been stinking out of the place. And he was unreal at the back end of last season with no Guehi. To answer that point, we had Lerman defense. We had Klein in defense as well. And I don't think anyone had a problem with those players as well. It's not like Andersen was carrying the defense without the help of other players. I think the whole of the defense was unreal towards the end of last season. So yes, Andersen was good. The whole team was great. But if you're looking at the bigger picture, if you're looking at the season as a whole, not just the end of last season, under Glasner, for example, I don't think any player was bad defensively. Which player actually came in defense was bad? Joe Ward played as a centre back. And we were like, wow, Joe Wood can play as a centre-back. Nathaniel Klein played as a centre-back. He was good. Andersen, of course, was there. Lerma was there. And that is the reason why I'm not as angry or frustrated about defenders leaving the football club, because I think the system suits and Glasner suits some of these players that we have at the football club and the replacements that's been mentioned well. Like, we will be able to replace these players. So yeah, I'll stick by my word that Andersen has been stinking out of the place recently, because he has in preseason and in the one game. So yeah, that is recent, and that's at least 3 games. But yeah, if you're upset over that, then you're upset.
To clarify, I didn't tweet that. That was definitely D. And I don't think Andersen played poorly on Sunday.
Away from it, I'll say it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No, I'm just saying I don't think he played poorly on Sunday, but I do think he had a poor preseason. But again, I don't think the defense. Again, this myth about we. Yeah, but the myth that we played poorly defensively on Sunday, I'm not buying that. We gave up 2 goals, but one was a deflection that the goalkeeper parried, and the second one was because our best defender, Andersen, Guehi, blah blah, Guehi showed the wrong side, and the guy took a shot that the goalie probably should have saved. But the defense didn't give up like 50 shots. I don't know why. Why do we give up 2 goals? Everybody thinks we played. The defense was bad. I mean, you can play defensively and give up goals. I don't understand that. I don't agree with we played defensively poorly. But again, the same way as your tweet. It's just my opinion, and it is what it is. So
yeah, maybe you might think it's a bit over the top, but yeah, like Andersen, there's so many elements to Andersen's game as well. That's not like I just don't think he's a 10 out of 10 defender. He's a very good defender. You might be upset over selling him to rivals, but his pace, you can question that. Sometimes his lack of concentration, he can switch off. He's had moments last season. Let's not pretend. I mean, the whole team was struggling, yes. But Andersen was one of those players. He lost his head, and he lashed out. Not lashed out. That's not the right word to use. But you saw his frustration with the fans, for example. There was a reason for that. Like, he wasn't having a great season last season. Under Glasner, everyone improved. But there's the whole narrative about Joachim Andersen being like our season is over and done with because we sold Joachim Andersen. I just think it's a bit over the top. Maybe you can say the same thing about my comments about him having a stinker recently being over the top. And that's the thing. We all have different opinions. But when I'm talking recently, by the way, I'm not looking at last season. I'm looking at preseason and the first game of the season. Of course, there hasn't been that many games, but his form has been off in recent times. But yeah, I just don't know. I just can't agree with the narrative that it's all over. Like, why did we sell Guehi? It's all over. Let's see who we bring in as replacements. But yeah. Let's see. Oli Khan saying, are you guys not concerned that we seem to be the only club that never spends?
Oli, question for you. Not this window, because we haven't spent much, but we have brought players in. We're not spending 130 million like West Ham. Who spent the most money in the winter window? The window that was in January, was it? What, you know what club that was? Crystal Palace. Munoz from Wharton. We spent the most money in that last window. So I'm not saying that. I agree with. I like to spend more, but to say that we never spent money is a bit unfair, because we spent money in the last window more than any other club. We spent more money in the last window, in the winter January window. So there's that.
And that's a fair point to make, because we did mention it on an earlier episode of Palace News, where we have to sell to buy, and there was that debate about why don't we spend more money and bring in more players. But yeah, I mean, we do tend to forget about it, but we did spend in January. You are right about that. And on two great players, by the way. Well, money well spent. But maybe that's what's playing a part. Maybe that's why when we're talking about Elise money and we've been calculating, all right, we might have 17 million pounds left for Elise. That might not be the case, because that money might go to cover towards the January signings.
Right, we don't know for sure.
So yeah,
who knows?
Matthew's saying, is anyone feeling nervy about us cashing in on talent? Palace look weaker. Then reason we struggle is through the season is depth in key positions. This was the season to take the next step.
So what I'll say, Matthew, I've mentioned before, if we don't replace Andersen, it's a problem. I'm comfortable with Riad, but I'll be more comfortable with LaCroix, because again, Glazer knows him, is a good defender, etc. The Elise thing is an aberration. We could do nothing about that. He had a release clause. He was going to go to a better club. Better it be Bayern. Would I want to get more money for him? Absolutely. But Elise was leaving, guys. He was leaving. We could do nothing about that. Better he go there than go to Chelsea. If we don't replace Andersen, Matthew, I would have the concerns you're having. We will be a lot weaker. But again, I cannot believe, and I'm not a massive Parish fan anymore. I'm just kind of in the middle again. I'm not. I'm in the middle. That he's going to, it hasn't happened yet official, he's going to sell Joachim Andersen and not replace him. I cannot see any scenario where that's going to happen. Glasner wouldn't want that, wouldn't go. I just don't see that making any sense, that we would sell him and not have a replacement lined up, whether it's LaCroix or Casuno or, God forbid, Trevor Chalobah or Joe Gomez at 50 million, whatever that rumor was the other day. I cannot believe we wouldn't replace him. So, but Matthew, let's see what happens. We'll see.
Yeah, let's see. Do you think? Do you know why Parish seems to be ducking appearing on TalkSport with Jordan and White? Would be interesting to see them grill Parish a little, considering all the recent media appearances.
Yeah.
Oh, I can tell you the reason for that. I don't think it's ducking.
Hold on. I'll tell you why.
We know that Simon Jordan and Steve Parish are not on talking terms. They feel some kind of way due to how the club was bought out, and that is the reason why they're not on together. That's a simple case. It's like
100%.
It's like I don't know. It's like I don't know. If you don't like someone, you're not going to spend the same airtime with that person, because it's, first of all, it's very awkward, and second of all, they probably don't want to speak to each other. So that might be Simon Jordan. It might be Parish. It might be both of them. So that's the reason why. But saying that, he's still going on TalkSport, making some appearances and talking. So
chat he had on Sunday. If you have YouTube, which obviously you do because you're watching the YouTube show, go and watch.
If you have YouTube, by the way, people. If you have YouTube, I wonder how you're watching this. If you don't have YouTube,
I misspoke and I apologize. Go back and watch. They have clips of Parish talking about Wharton, about PSR, about Palace in general, about the Guehi situation. Go back and watch it. But again, going on what D said, Simon Jordan hates Steve Parish because how he lost the club. They mentioned last week, I watch TalkSport every morning. They mentioned that Jim White said, would you want Parish to come on? And Jordan killed Parish. Why would he come on? Blah, 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 blah. He saw my club. They're never going on together. Never. Parish is not dumb enough to go on that show and get killed by Jordan. Jordan does not want that man in front of him. So it's never going to happen. So, yeah.
Here we go. As I've said, I don't as I said, I don't think this is going to happen without stuff happening behind the scenes. And we've got a update in terms of one of the potential replacements already. 15 minutes
D-bomb.
into the show.
A D-bomb. Look at this. Come on, D, drop
it. This is according to the Palace way, not me. Exclusive for them is that Crystal Palace are stepping up the interest in Benfica defender Thomas Arejo. The centre back is a favourite of Dougie Friedman. Oliver Glasner still prefers to want LaCroix. He will be available on the free should Mark Guehi be sold next summer. Interesting, Patrick. Interesting about LaCroix and Arejo. Look, as I said, we're selling him for £30 million for a reason. It's for a reason. That's why we've compromised. Even Austin said there's a compromise there because we wanted £40 million, right? And Thomas Arejo from Benfica seems like the preferred choice right now, Patrick. And LaCroix might come in next summer if Guehi for free, which would be, I mean, every summer we love a free transfer, a big free transfer. If Guehi was to leave, your thoughts on that quickly, and the chat as well, get involved.
I'm actually I don't know anything about Thomas Arroyo, so I can't comment on him, but it kind of sounds a bit Palacey. The thing that I do like from that is that Dougie has tracked this player. So what we're not going to do is sign a player we have not scouted a lot, and Dougie has done some research on. So from that stuff, I'm happy with that. Getting LaCroix on a free makes a lot of sense because he's available next season. You just said it, we love a free. But that means we lose Guehi, which does make me happy. But that is what it is. But what you just said makes sense. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it does actually make sense. But how do you feel about, Oliver Glasner wanting LaCroix and us waiting till next summer? Surely there must be an agreement in place. They must have had conversations about Arejo. Surely he should be okay with that, right? Because if he isn't, then it'll be weird to wait and not bring in a player that he prefers in LaCroix.
I mean, yeah, he brought Kamada in on a free. Yeah, I don't think the LaCroix thing is a make or break with Glasner as far as he has to have him this season. I think he'd prefer to have him in, but he knows the system, so it's not like he has to learn anything. So that doesn't really bother me. But the Arroyo thing kind of threw me for a loop. I don't know. I never heard of the play. I didn't know we were linked with him. But if Glasner wants, this is what I believe, honestly. Glasner wants him now, we'll get him now. Glasner says you can wait till the end of the season, we'll wait till this. Listen, I'm going to the premise of this. We brought Glasner in for a reason, and we're going to listen to him. If we're not, then he should just leave tomorrow, which I don't believe is going to happen. So for me, whatever Glasner wants to do, I'm 100% behind, and I think that Steve Parish and Dougie Friedman, they're not stupid. They're not necessarily the best, director of football and owner ever, but they're not dumb. They're going to do what Glasner wants to do. So if Glasner wants LaCroix in now, he's in this before the window ends. If you say, I'll wait, get him on the free, it's smarter that way, save the money, bring in Arroyo, I like his attributes, etc., then we'll do that.
22 years old, by the way, people. Just a quick details. 22 years old. In terms of the fees, I'm not too sure exactly how much it'll cost, but he's had a good start to the season for Benfica. So yeah. And yeah, if Dougie rates him, I have no problems with that. I cannot go against that. And yeah, I mean, maybe Glasner would be happy with LaCroix joining on the free next summer. Maybe there's no rush, especially if we rate Arroyo. Look, if we set a 28-year-old that has 2 years left on his deal for around £30 million, including add-ons to a rival, it doesn't, maybe selling to a rival is not good, but if we can replace a 28-year-old with a 22-year-old, which our sporting director, who we all, I guess, wanted to keep away from Newcastle this summer because we have faith in him, is after, then I think that could be a positive step forward. Still very young defender to replace him with. That would be Richards 24, Guehi 24, Arejo 22. And we've got Riad as well. So, I mean, our oldest centre-back he'll be starting will be 24, which sounds like crazy. I mean, there's still massive room for improvement as well as experience as well. So yeah, there is a lot flying about. There is a lot going about even right now, but it's good because at least we managed to speak about it today, and tomorrow is like a fresh chapter. And also an update in terms of Kosanu. Is that how you pronounce it, Patrick?
Yes.
Yeah. It is understood that this is according to the Palace way to be keen on a move, but Palace are preferring the two other defenders, LaCroix and Arejo, at this moment of time.
That's fine. The only reason I like Kosunu is because he can play left back, not left wing back, but he can play left back too. So that's the only reason I like him. But again, I don't know Royal. I know Casson. I watched games in the Bundesliga, and obviously I know LaCroix. I watch Bundesliga football, and Wolfsburg. But so again, whatever happens, I'm not too fussed at the combination. What I don't want is Trevor Chalobah or Joe Gomez. Those two I've seen it play in England. Decent players. Don't want them at Palace. Not that they're not Palace level, because they obviously are. I like the profile of the guys playing in either Germany or Portugal or France or somewhere different. Yeah.
For me, all of these names being mentioned, they're good enough. That's my
You
whole
like
point
Chalobah?
about this
You like
situation.
Chalobah?
No. Like Chalobah, yeah, I think
Okay.
Chalobah's still good enough. But I'm talking about the names that's been mentioned. Chalobah's not mentioned in the Palace way. LaCroix and Arejo, like these names are good enough for me. They'll be able to come in and do a job. Younger, more pace than Andersen. So it'll be something different. Maybe we might miss Andersen passing a bit, but yeah, I've no problem with that. Look, people, we're gonna wrap up here, but to not miss out on future Palace content, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already done so. We've done 2 Palace news episodes today. Match preview dropping tomorrow. I'm 99.9% sure we'll be here tomorrow. I'll be surprised if there's literally no news after tonight's news breaking. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Thank to all and every single one of you that's tuned in. If we haven't been able to answer questions, put them in the comment section down below after we do wrap up, and we'll try to go through the comments and answer as many as possible. That's it from me and Patrick, and until next time, up the Palace.